Hey there, I'm Vimal. Welcome to my channel. Hope you are doing well. In today's video, we are going to discuss about data structure. Specifically, what kind of data structure we follow in JavaScript. What kind of data type we use in JavaScript. So we will discuss all this in detail. So let's start. First of all, we need to understand what is data structure. What does it mean? In every programming, there's a data. Like without data we cannot do anything. Data is what? Data is something which we collect. It can be a number, it can be a string, anything. String, numbers, it's kind of a data type of it that we will discuss later. But whatever we collect from user, it's a data. Like for example, we have written one program, okay, and that program collects data from user, like one number. User enter one number and we perform some operation on that number and we give output to the user. So what we are doing here, we are performing some operation on data, users data. So that is data. Now what is data structure? Whatever data user passes to our program, so how we collect that data and how we store and how we process that data, how we process the operation on that data. This is the technique. This is the what is the technique we follow for doing that? It's a data structure. So data structure is kind of a technique for storing and accessing data. There are various data structures available in programming for enhancing our code performance. So if we follow the best technique for kind of best approach, uh, it's depending on our uh, our logic, like what kind of thing we are going to do. So if we follow the best suitable data structure for our program, then our program's performance will be enhanced, will be improved. So data structure is kind of technique, right, for storing and accessing data. So let's read the definition, official definition of data structure. A data structure is a specialized format for organizing, processing, retrieving, and storing data, right? So in data structure, we need to understand data type, JavaScript data types. There are two data types available in JavaScript: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Generally, we do not work with primitive data types because in JavaScript, we don't need to define a data type when we declare any variable or something. So it's a dynamic type language, but we need to understand what kind of data type JavaScript follow inside. Generally, we do work with non-primitive data types. Okay. Now, what is JavaScript primitive data types? Primitive data types means a native data type like string, number, boolean, undefined, null. Like in every programming, like let's take an example of Java. There we have to define a type of any data. Like if we are declaring any variable, then we have to define its data type, what kind of data is going to be stored in that. So similar, in a similar way, JavaScript does have that thing, but it's automatic. Like when we, let's say, when we declare any variable, let's say variable one, variable not one, variable a, okay, where a. Let's write program for that. var a, and we define its initial value 1. We define this variable a. Now it will define data type automatically. We have not given any value, we have not assigned any value to a, so now it's a undefined. It will automatically a undefined data type. Okay, now we have given value 1 to a. Okay, now it's a number, now it's a string. So these all things are happening automatically, so we don't need to define specific data type for any particular variable. Now, what is JavaScript non-primitive data types? Non-primitive data types is data types which are written by a programmer. It's not default with programming. Bec- this primitive data types are default with programming. Okay, programming have that thing in default, but non-primitive data types, it's not a default. It's something which is been written by any programmer. Okay, let's say an example of object, array, regular expression. These are the non-primitive data types. These things we will discuss later, later part in this series. So now let's coming back to data structures. We have a 8 common data structure in JavaScript: stack, queue, linked list, set, hash table, tree, trie, graph. In this video, we will cover stack and queue. So now, first of all, let's understand what is stack. Hope you can see the picture and slide. Stack is something like a, let's take a one box. We put some elements inside it, and we put all the elements one by one. So it will call it's we can call it as a push and pop. Like whenever we have to put something, it's calling push, and we have to get some data, like at that time we will call pop. So this is stack. So let's read its definition. Stack follows the principle of LIFO, last in first out. If you stack book, the top book will be taken before the bottom one. Or when you browse on internet, the back button leads you the most recent browsed page. This is the most famous example of stack, the that back button. Okay, whenever you visit any web page on your browser, okay, if you go inside that web page, if you visit any linking with that web page, and then you press back button, so it will pop the most recent page you have visited. Okay, so it will lead to the most recent page you have visited. So this is the example of stack. Now these are the 4 methods we get in stack: push, pop, peek, length. What is push? Push is the method which puts data in a stack. Pop Pop will fetch data which is available, which has been entered lastly in stack. So pop method will fetch that last inserted data. Pick Pick will fetch the data which is available in stack on top length, not top length, top index. Length is for measuring the length of stack. Let's look an example. We have written one program of stack. We have uh, written one function stack. Now look, array has some attribute of stack, but this time we have written all the stack methods by our own. So let's understand. First of all, we have declared two variables with number and with object, count and storage. Now what we will do, we will push, we will make all these methods push, pop, peek and size. First of all, we will make push. Now what push will do, push will have a function which will have one parameter value. Now whenever we call push method, it will we will pass any value that is for entering that value in our storage stack, right? So at that time we will enter past value in storage with our count index. So here we are creating key value pair in storage object, and after entering a value to the storage, we will increase count by 1. Now we will create pop method. First of all, we will check whether count is equal to 0 or not. If it is 0, then we will return undefined. First of all, we will decrease count index by 1. Then we fetch our element which has been put inside storage. So we will fetch that data with using count index, and after fetching that data, we will delete that data from storage, and we will return what we have fetched whenever. So pop method will be working like this. Now what peek method will do? Peek method is simple. We just need to pop the last inserted data from stack. So for that, just we need to do this count dot minus 1, and we will fetch that data from storage. Now what will size do? Size will return the count of size will return the simple count. So so user can get the size of that stack. So this was stack. Now let's understand queue. What is queue? Queue is some interesting thing. Queue is meant one in one order, like a queue. Queue is similar to stack. The only difference is that queue uses the FIFO principle, first in, first out. In other words, when you enqueue for bus, the bus in the queue will always board first. Okay, that means the first person which is in queue will reach to the bus first. Okay, now queue has some methods like we have seen in stack. Queue is also having some methods. Enqueue, dequeue, front is empty, size. Enqueue is simply for entering a data into queue. Dequeue is for fetching data on at the top of the queue. Front front is for fetching the data which is top of the queue. The queue is something first, removing first element. Is empty. Is empty is for checking whether our queue is empty or not. Size is for, again, measuring size of the queue. Now let's look an example. We have made one function which is calling queue. Now we are going to use array in queue. Okay, so we have declared one variable collection with array, empty array. Now we will define all the methods. Okay, first of all we will define print method. Now what it will do, it will simply log our collection, what we have in collection. Now enqueue, what that enqueue will do, uh, enqueue will simply push element we pass in the function. Okay, into the, it will push that element into that collection array. Dequeue will simply um, remove the remove the element which is been present at the top of the array. Okay, at the first index. Now we will make another method, front is for fetching the data which is present at the top of the array, top length in the array. Is empty is for checking whether our queue is empty or not. Size is for measuring the size of an array, of a, yeah, of a queue. So this is it. This is the data structure this is the queue data structure we follow in JavaScript. It has one another feature like a priority queue that we will discuss in next video. So this is it. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you have got idea about stack and queue a little bit. If you have any question, then comment below. If you like this video, then please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. So thank you. So we will meet in our next video. Till then, bye. See you. Take care.